Okay, here we go. The last season of F1 My Team on F1 2021. Season number 8, The Last Dance. If you haven't seen the previous episode, the pre-season preview, then go check it out. Link up in the top right. Go see the new liveries and also the driver transfers. But if you're going to enjoy this episode and the season ahead, leave a like and subscribe for more. We're on the road to 100k subs, guys, by the end of the year, so any help would be massively appreciated. And yeah, let's get into it. Round 1, the Chinese Grand Prix. A bit of a change to the usual calendar as we start the final season in a track which most likely won't be in the new game. Therefore, I thought it was fitting to race one more time around here. In the background, you can see we had to take care of a personnel department event for Jack Aitken, our new teammate. And we now look at the weather forecast, which looks to be dry. And that is confirmed in Q1. Possible chance to rain in the race. It did say 24% overcast throughout the entire race, so maybe some possible light rain, who knows, or overcast all the way through. There is our new car with some revised tweaks to the livery and the brand new number 1, of course, as the defending champion. And our objective this year is to retain our crown and win the Constructors. Now, as always, as we did last season, we're going to show you the setup for this weekend, what I'm going to use, and see if we can, find a nice little balance. It's a China setup that I use for league racing, which I've just modified, based off the car traits this car has, because it's very, very unstable due to it being maxed out. So, yeah, just doing the final adjustments on the brake pressure, the tyre pressure, all that kind of stuff to make sure the car isn't always on the knife edge. And now we join the track, and you can see here we're currently at the end of our first push lap in Q1. We're going to see if we can try and get through on just one single lap and save tyres. Through the final corner, DRS wide open, up to the line, and it's only P8 and 6/10 off Esteban Ocon. I then went for a cool down lap and went for a second push lap as I fueled for 2 laps. And we're only improving by a further 1/10.5 on this second lap, so a little bit concerning here, maybe a lack of pace. You can see here we've lost a bit of time through the hairpin, and we're now just a 10th up as we make our way through the final corner. We just about keep it in track limits, and we're going to improve by a 1/10.5, but we only move to P14, which is quite concerning. I go back to the pits and I look at the lap times, and I can see Aitken and Latifi haven't set actual decent lap times. So in reality, we're really, we're sitting at about P16. So we need to go back out. We put on a fresh set of tyres, and we're going to try and get through. But I know what I've got to do with the driving. I have to try and commit a bit more in the low speed, but there's not a lot more time in it. So 27.5 right now is what we're sitting on as we start our final lap in Q1, and we're looking at a shock exit here if we're not careful. Through turn 2 and into turn 3, keeping it nice and tight, short shifting, tight exit, straight line traction, and we're up by the smallest of margins as we end sector 1. Into turn 5, hard on the brakes, pick up a late apex, a little bit wide, they just understeered a little bit too wide for my personal liking, but the exit is really good, and we find half a 10th. Now into the very fast left-hander, which I didn't quite get the line right. I had to take a few corrections and lost a bit of time as well through the right, so we've lost that advantage. Now into these 2 left-handers, very tricky on traction, especially the second one, and we're up again by just a fraction in the second sector. And you can see in the top left right now we're P15 and other cars are on laps, so we need to find more time, and that's exactly what we do through the little left-right chicane onto the banking. We find about a 1/10.5, and now we have a bit of an advantage over our previous personal best as we get pushed down to P16. So we are on the cusp here, and we're now P17, so we're out. Down to the hairpin at the 100-meter board, 3rd gear, on the brakes, P19 now, and we're looking at elimination here if we don't nail this final corner. Up to it now, 50-meter board, turn in, don't touch the inside curb, use all the runoff, and we're going to improve by 2/10. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it is, and we just sneaked through in P16, which is a hell of a lot closer than what I would have liked. And clearly, we're lacking pace here big time. So, Aitken through comfortably in the top 10, 6/10 quicker than me, whereas we're on the back foot. Now, Q2, I went back out on a used set of tyres that we used in Q1. So this lap won't be super accurate as tyre wear is really high, but I wanted to get a used tyre banker as we only have one fresh set left. And across the line, and we set at 27.7, which is about 4/10 off what we've done in Q1 to get through. So not quite ideal. pace-wise. What I'm going to do now, though, is gamble. So we're going to go +1 on the front wing and increase all of our tyre pressures and by 2 on the rears, which is a huge roll of the dice. We're going to be risking a lot of instability, and, you know, we're trying to see if we can compensate for that by gaining outright performance. We'll lose a bit of straight line speed as well, but anything for a bit more lap time. So this is it, P16. We need to deliver a lap. Let's see what we can do. P11 most likely is what we're aiming for in this session. Through turn 1, you can see a little bit wide of the initial apex. Into 2, though, we get the car slowed down. Turn 3, it's down to first gear briefly there as we try to get the rotation. You can see already 2.5 tenths up and right on the money. Down to turn 5, braking at about 90 meters, down to third gear, short shift. Try and get the drive and the traction out of there. And now we head into turn 6. Much better job through there. We do get a little bit loose, but still decently done through turn 7 as well. Keeping it nice and tight. Now into 8 and 9. Smoothly done through there. And you can see we're up by 6 tenths, which would put us on a 27.1, which is still a personal best this weekend. If you consider we did a 27.3 in Q1. We find even more lap time through the left-right chicane onto the banking. And look at this, we're 7.5 tenths up. So we are on for a 27.0, which would get us just ahead of Bottas in P12, as you can see in the top left. So let's see what we can do here in this final part of the lap, into the hairpin, trying to get the car slowed down. A little bit early on the brakes, didn't quite brake as I would have liked to, and we lose a bit overall. And now into the final corner, full commitment. We go in a bit too early though, and have a moment, and it's game over. And we make a huge mistake at the very last corner, and that is qualifying over for us as we finish in P16 and last in Q2, which is really, really disappointing. If you look at the lap times, I think had we just cleaned up those final 2 corners, I could have got a very low 27, maybe even a very high 26. I do believe P12 was possible, maybe even P11 on an absolutely perfect final sector, but yeah, I think P10 was a bit out of the question, a bit too far away, but P11 was definitely on the cards and we fumbled it. So P16 for us in the first race of Season 8.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Stroll, Pierre Gasly and Aitken, Russell, Latifi, Leclerc and Yuki Tsunoda, Tictum, Bottas, Esteban Ocon and Lundgaard, Giovinazzi, Martinez, Robert Schwartzman and Callum Islet, Joe, Mick Schumacher, Mazepin and Nobuharu Matsushita. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So this is it then, opening race of the season, P16 on the grid, and we have work to do. So strategy-wise, hard to medium is going to be the plan for this one. I'm going to try and make the hard tyre work. It's not really my preferred choice, especially in the first stint. I don't usually go for the alternate strategy, especially with the hardest of all the compounds, but I feel like this track is an exception due to tyre wear. Fuel-wise, we're going to run minimum, and I'm going to make some further adjustments to the setup. Because we're going to be running the harder compound of tyres, we're going to go even higher on the tyre pressures, and hopefully we can get away with it. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with the wing on 8-9. I feel like we're going to gamble on having a bit more oversteer, but if we can make it work, it might give us a bit more pace. So, yeah, we're going to need all the pace we can get on this hard tyre. So let's get into it. Let's see if we can turn it around. The one stop is definitely the preferred option. So let's get into the action, and hopefully we can turn this one around and get some decent points by the end of it. Right, here we go. Let's get to work. Hopefully a decent one. 5 lights. And we're underway. Not a bad start. Looks like everyone else around us is also on hard tyres. As we head into turn 1, we're going to take the inside line and squeeze through. 3 abreast here with Bottas and Lundgaard. We're going to go the long way around. Can we pull it off? It's close, still 3 wide, but we're just going to edge ahead and move into P13. Easy does it on the dive bomb here as we send one up the inside of Esteban Ocon, up to P12, and that is an excellent start already, putting us behind Dan Ticktum, who's also on the hard tyre, so if we can pass him, we would be the first car on the alt strat, which is a great place to be. So excellent opening start to the race. It helps that everyone else around us is mostly on the hard tyre, except for the man behind us, Esteban Ocon, who is looking for the re-overtake. Important phase of the race to try and have some decent early race pace in this opening round with this new car on these hard tyres. I think Ocon could be a threat. I'm worried about my straight line speed because my wings are quite low. Ocon closing in. Looks like we might actually have the edge towards the second half of the straight on the anchors for the first time as we tackle the hairpin. And there we go, lap 1 in the books, and we'll take that. Very good start to the race. Let's see if we can try to stick with Dan Ticktum here and hopefully stick with the top 10. End of lap 2, DRS will now be enabled. Ricciardo setting the pace out front. Whether he's in the lead or not, we don't know, but DRS enabled, and we've managed to stick with Ticktum.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Give it about 1 or 2 more laps, and those on softs will start to drop off, and they'll come back towards us. Hopefully, if they battle, that will help. Ideally, we have to pass Ticktum here, first time of asking, on the back straight, if we can make it happen. This is going to be close, if we get DRS or not. A bit of wide through there, but I think we might just nick it. The AI are super strong through the second half of the banking. They just drive off with incredible traction. You can see Ticktum open up a massive gap. Ocon 3/10 of drift, but not really close enough. We might actually be able to set up the move here into turn 1 on Ticktum if we gain enough ground on this back straight. Let's see. Nice and close through there, but maybe not quite close enough, so we'll have to stick behind and follow for now. Still no pit stops, as the AI still seem to be running at a decent pace on that soft tyre. We're going to set a personal best though.
Okay, start actively conserving fuel please, or we won't be finishing today.
Yep, fuel of course will be a factor, but we're saving about 0.3 per lap, so we'll be able to get that back quite quickly, hence why I usually go with minimum fuel. Let's see if this time we can try and stay a bit closer to Ticktum. Oh, I say that. That was close. We're a bit closer this lap. But this is where I lose a bit of time on the exit of the banking. I can't quite get the power down as early as the AI do. Having said that, we are closer. We might just get a chance here, let's see. The AI are still running pretty strong in the top 10 now on the soft tyres.
Okay, clear.
Ticktum with the squeeze as we got the inside. We're going to give him the squeeze. Yellow flag, so important that we get past.
Jack is in the pits. Jack in the pits. Some information on Schwartzman. They are out of the race.
So cars in the pit lane, including Jack Aitken. We get some nice clean air. I can't see where Ticktum's gone, but he's disappeared. Not sure what happened to him. Either way, Schwartzman out the race for Williams. Bottas, Ocon battling. Got a chance here to try and break away from those on the alternate strategy, so let's try and push. And now the remaining soft runners are in the pit lane. So we'll take the lead of this race. As we have a moment there through the final corner. Struggling with that one. I was on for a personal best, but I messed it up. Anyway, P1 for us. We're going to lead a few laps of this race. Let's try and keep the pace up. See if we can try and open the race up for us. This is a crucial phase. Whatever pace we run at now will dictate how our race goes. Of course, we'll be on the medium later, so we'll see if that works in our favour.
A new strategy is available on the MFD.
Give me a second, Jeff, and I'll have a little look. Pace is okay at the minute. We're keeping Ocon at bay, even though he's on the medium. Bit of a scruffy sequence there, though, struggling with the back end.
Got that confirmed.
Didn't really know what to go for there, but we'll try and extend this stint if we can. You never know, a safety car or a virtual safety car could always work in our favour. Ricciardo has just popped up in P5, which means he's ahead of Verstappen on track. He's the net race leader. We set 2 consecutive personal bests. And I'm just starting to pull away from Ocon a little bit now as we dip into the 1 minute 30s. Fuel starting to burn off, and the hard tyre still showing decent pace, so we're able to do pretty well. But Ricciardo is the lead Red Bull right now, so worth noting. We'll see how that works out. Ocon's tyres have let go, so this is a crucial phase for us now to try and open up a gap. We are going to be racing Ocon when we eventually meet back up on track after his, mine and his pit stops. So the gap we get now could prove to be decisive. So let's try and push on here. There we go. Ocon finally pits. We've just set 2 consecutive personal bests again. So we're starting to open a gap. Let's try and keep it ticking over. I know Verstappen is on the move now. He's managed to get ahead of alt-strat traffic and he's now behind Ricciardo on track. But he has to get past his teammate. Ricciardo is in the medium, to be fair. So strategy offset in the Red Bull team. We'll see how that works out. But right now our pace is very good. And we're putting ourselves in the race here. First warning for track limits.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
I definitely think we are going to extend and go long, just to be safe. And it might give us an opportunity if there is a safety car or a virtual safety car as well. So we may as well try and take it. Oh, Latifi out, and there we go, on cue. Now would be a great time for a virtual safety car. We could actually win this race if that happened. Looks like we're not going to get it though. Second retirement of the race after Schwartzman with no safety car yet. No virtual safety car either. Bottas and tipped him into the pit lane. Okay, it might be worth pitting this lap then, and just to cover off the undercut, just to be safe. Even though I had about 3.5 seconds, I'd rather not risk having to fall behind another car and waste time. We'll go for one more. I can see that Tictum, Ocon and Bottas are in a bit of traffic behind the Williams, so we're going to go for one more and pit this lap now.
We're going to box this lap, push hard on the in-lap. Understood, stopping this lap.
Here we go then, really good in lap, currently on for a personal best. We're going to drain our battery. Make no more mistakes now, keep it nice and clean. Ricciardo has pit, so has Jack Aitken. A few of the 2 stoppers are making their stops now, so we're actually going to be right in the mix here. Not sure what pace we'll have in the medium, but I wouldn't rule out the race win. Right, there we go, excellent pit entry. Probably a bit on the safer side, but that's okay. So we're racing Ocon, Tictum and Bottas. They're going into the hairpin right now. We're on for a podium here. This is insane.
Go, go, go.
It's a slow stop, 3.1, but I think we're going to be okay.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Whoa, my god, that inside curb almost killed me. Scruffy rejoin, but P3 on merit. Lando 11 seconds up the road. Verstappen 13 seconds. We've done what we can now. Let's see if we have enough pace to win this race. I highly doubt it, but you know what? I would have taken a P3 at the start of this. Not quite sure we'll do enough for a fastest lap. It's going to be close. Yep, we do just take it by less than a tenth. Decent pace. Let's try and keep it up. Ricciardo takes it away though straight away. He's behind us. He could be a threat later on. He's going to have to fight his way through though, make some overtakes. Let's keep chipping away. See if we can eat away at Lando and see if we can try and close in a bit. Tyres are starting to lose their edge a little bit, but we're still chipping away. Worth noting, Norris is actually gradually closing in over Verstappen. If they were to battle, that might just help in terms of us catching, but for now, I think we're just going to run out of laps and tyres. Looks like fuel's going to be absolutely perfect as we time it to the last lap in terms of fuel consumption and fuel saving without having to actually save fuel at any point during the race. I've been driving flat out every single lap, so we've pretty much got it nailed on in terms of consumption around here. 2 laps to go.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Let's just bring it home. I don't think we've got enough to catch these 2. Here we go then, last lap of the race. We've done a good job. Bottas is closing in. He's been pretty equal to us, to be fair, in terms of pace. I've not really pulled away that much from Bottas. Tictum, to be fair, I've dropped him a little bit. Even still, our pace wasn't standout, but it was very consistent, and the strategy did the rest. Verstappen wins. Norris P2. We're going to bring home a fantastic P3 podium on the 1 stop with the hard to medium strategy, which we'll take.
Great drive, great drive. We're really happy with that performance.
There'll be many smiles at the factory after that one. A great race and a real team performance to take the win here in Shanghai. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Well, that is an excellent way to start the season, a great recovery, and the car was great. I really enjoyed it. I gotta say, I think I wish I'd gambled on the setup and gone with the higher wing and also the higher pressures in qualifying earlier, because even our last lap in Q2, our very last attempt, actually was our best one by quite a way, and I do think had I had this up from the beginning, I could have actually gone to Q3 maybe. So who knows? Either way, I think having the alternate strategy was actually a blessing in disguise here. So P11 was probably the best way to be around here, the best place to start. Even still though, P16 great first lap, up to P12 straight away, then we got past Tictum and the rest was history. So yeah, very good race, both cars in the points. Aitken in P8 on a two-stopper, he was third of the two-stoppers behind Ricciardo and Stroll, so not a bad first race for him in Formula 1. We'll definitely hopefully build on that moving forward, and yeah, double points finish for us as a team. Verstappen your winner though, ahead of Norris and myself, and then Bottas, Tictum, Ricciardo, Stroll, Aitken, Ocon, Giovinazzi rounding out the points, and Ricciardo with the fastest lap. So let's look at the constructor standings. We know what the drivers is going to be, of course, as it is basically the drivers' race results. In the constructors though, we're third behind Mercedes, 15 points behind Red Bull, and 4 off the Silver Arrows, and 9 ahead of Ferrari. So yeah, decent start. We can definitely build on this, and the next race is Imola, so hopefully you guys tune in then for that one. If you enjoyed this one and the return to the old format, leave a like and subscribe for more. I'm on the road to 100k, so any help would be massively appreciated on the sub count. And yeah, as always, a massive plug to the members for supporting the content. And finally, check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them, and I'll see all of you next time for Imola. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.